My name is Emily Hart. I used to think love meant carrying someone through their storms, even if it meant drowning a little myself. My morning started before sunrise. The kettle whistled like a warning, the walls still cold from the night. I made breakfast, packed lunches, ironed shirts, and checked our finances before waking up my husband, Mark. He would always be sprawled across the bed like a man who had conquered the world in his dreams. "Babe, 5 more minutes," he mumbled every morning. 5 minutes became 10, 10 became 20, and before I knew it, I was rushing through the house, managing everything, again. We had been married for 4 years. When we moved into his family's old house, I thought we were building a future. Instead, I became the unpaid maid of a household of 3 adults, my husband, his mother, and his younger sister, Chloe. They didn't work. None of them. Mark kept saying he was looking for opportunities, though somehow there was always time for video games, TV dramas, or scrolling endlessly on his phone. "Emily, don't stress," he always said. "As the man of the house, I'll take care of things." Except he never did. I worked full-time as a project coordinator. My salary paid the mortgage, utilities, groceries, everything. I even covered Chloe's college tuition because family helps family. His mother constantly reminded me of that. "You're such a good daughter-in-law," she would say with a smile that never reached her eyes. "You know Mark will rise soon. Men take time." Maybe I was naive, but I believed in him. I kept believing even when believing started to hurt. Every night, I returned from work exhausted, shoulders tense, wrists aching from typing all day. And I would find the house messy, dishes piled like a mountain, laundry spilling over chairs, empty snack wrappers scattered like confetti. "Was it really that hard to wash one plate?" I whispered once, holding a greasy pan. Chloe rolled her eyes. "We're not used to housework. Mark said you like doing this stuff." Like? I didn't like doing it. I did it because someone had to. Because if I didn't, no one would. Because I thought love was endurance. One night, I sat across from Mark at dinner. I was too tired to swallow, too tired to breathe. "Mark," I said softly, "I need help." He didn't look at me. He was too busy tapping on his phone. "I work too," he said. "You don't have a job," I whispered. He finally lifted his head, eyes cold. "I'm planning things. Thinking is work." "That's not the same." He slammed his fork down. "Why are you always complaining? You're the wife. This is what wives do." My throat tightened. His mother nodded approvingly, adding, "Men are providers, Emily. Let him be." Provider? I was the one paying for everything. But I swallowed my anger. I told myself it was temporary. Love requires patience. One exhausting Wednesday, I overslept for the first time in months. My body simply refused to move. Mark didn't wake me. Chloe didn't knock on the door. When I finally rushed out, hair half wet, shirt wrinkled, I felt defeated. I missed my usual train and had to take the bus. I slumped into the window seat. Rain streaked down the glass like quiet tears. My head throbbed from stress. Then I overheard a woman behind me on the phone. "Girl, if a man can watch you struggle and not move, that's not a man. That's a dependent with a bigger ego." I froze. She continued, voice clear and firm. "Bare minimum is not love. Effort is." Those words hit me like a slap. I stared at the raindrops racing each other down the glass, thinking of the mountain of responsibilities waiting for me at home, thinking about how Mark always said he was a man of big dreams, but I was the one doing all the building. Another line from the woman on the phone. If he wanted to, he would. My chest tightened. That sentence echoed in the hollow space inside me. If he wanted to help me, he would. If he wanted to support me, he would. If he loved me the way I loved him, he would. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. For the first time, I saw my reality without the haze of love. I wasn't a wife. I was a lifeline, and I was drowning. Something changed in me on that bus. Something irreversible. I didn't know it then, but the slow, silent revenge had already begun. The shift didn't happen overnight. It happened in small, quiet realizations. At first, I didn't act. I simply observed. I stopped defending Mark in conversations, stopped making excuses for him, stopped catering to every sigh that came out of him, like I owed him devotion. 2 weeks after the bus conversation, I came home late from a major project deadline. I was mentally and physically drained. I had carried another 16-hour day. The moment I walked into the living room, I froze. Mark and Chloe were spread out on the couch with takeout containers, food I had paid for. The coffee table was cluttered with wrappers, a half-empty soda bottle, and a bowl of cold noodles. A dirty spoon stuck to the armrest like gum. Not a single dish had been washed from the morning. "Hey babe," Mark said without looking away from the TV. "Grab me a napkin?" Something in me cracked. I didn't move. His mother appeared from the hallway. "Emily, the trash is full again. Again." Her tone wasn't gratitude, it was ownership. "Can you handle it?" she added, like she was doing me a favor by asking. I swallowed hard. "I just worked 16 hours. Mark paused the show, annoyed. "We all had long days." "Doing what?" I whispered. Chloe scoffed. "You sound ungrateful." Ungrateful. Ungrateful. When I paid the mortgage. Ungrateful. When I funded her tuition. Ungrateful. When I fed them. I pressed my lips together, holding back the storm rising in my chest. That night, I cleaned anyway, not because they deserved it, but because I needed the kitchen to make food for myself. My hands shook as I scrubbed a greasy pan. Mark strolled in behind me, rubbing his stomach. "You should cut back on overtime," he said casually. "It's making you irritable." I stopped washing. "Overtime pays the bills." He leaned against the counter. "Payment isn't everything. Men don't measure their worth with paychecks." I looked at him, feeling every bone in my body go still. "What do you measure it with then?" He hesitated, like he'd never thought about it. Instead of answering, he deflected. "You should be proud of me. I'm patient. I'm waiting for the right opportunity." "And while you wait," I said quietly, "I carry everything." His eyes narrowed. "Are you saying I'm useless?" "I'm saying I'm tired." He grabbed a plate and held it out to me. "Well, when you're done feeling sorry for yourself, can you heat this up?" That was the first night I truly hated him. The real betrayal came 3 days later. I left work early for once, feeling proud that I might actually get home before dark. I wanted to cook something nice and maybe talk, really talk, with Mark. Maybe we could fix this. But when I walked through the front door, I didn't hear the TV. No scattered plates, no noise. Instead, I heard laughter. A soft, giggling whisper from the kitchen. Female laughter. Not Chloe's. I felt a sick twist in my stomach. I walked closer, careful with my footsteps. The kitchen door was slightly open. Inside, Mark stood with a woman I had never seen. She was leaning against the counter, twirling her hair. He was showing her something on his phone, something that made her smile too widely. "And this," he said, his voice smooth, proud, "is why I don't work a low-end job. I'm meant for something bigger." "Oh my God, you're so different from most men," she purred. "You don't let stress get to you." He chuckled. "Yeah, Emily stresses a lot. She worries too much about money and careers. She doesn't get the bigger picture." "Emily." He said my name like a burden. I stepped forward. "Mark?" He jerked upright like he'd been electrocuted. The girl stepped back with a fake, innocent expression. You're home early." I noticed. He waved his hand dismissively. "This is Talia. She's from my online entrepreneurial group. She's here for business ideas." I looked at the table. 2 empty coffee mugs. A laptop open. Her jacket draped over Mark's chair. "Business ideas?" I repeated, voice flat. Talia played with her hair, smiling too sweetly. "Mark and I were brainstorming. He's so talented." "Talented at what? Avoiding responsibility?" Mark walked toward me, lowering his voice. "Don't embarrass yourself. You get emotional." That line hit harder than any scream would have. "Don't embarrass yourself." Like I was the problem. I turned to Talia. "Is he helping you build a future?" She nodded, cheeky. "Yep." I held her gaze. "Funny, I've been doing that for him for 4 years." Her smile faltered. Mark's face tightened. "Emily, stop." I didn't. I stepped closer, whispering so low only he could hear. "You've already shown her everything you have to offer, which apparently is nothing." For the first time in a long time, Mark had no words. I walked out of the kitchen, closed the door to our bedroom, and sat on the edge of the bed in stunned silence. I wasn't crying. I was planning. Revenge doesn't always start with anger. Sometimes it starts with clarity, and clarity is cold. I didn't confront him. I didn't scream. I didn't accuse. Silence became my weapon. The morning after I caught him entertaining Talia in our kitchen, I acted as if nothing had happened. I made breakfast like I always did. Eggs, toast, coffee. But when I set the plate in front of him, I didn't sit down. I picked up my own keys and purse. "Where are you going?" Mark asked. "To work," I said simply. "You didn't sit and eat." "I already did." He blinked, confused. He wasn't used to a version of me who didn't explain herself. That's when the revenge began. Little adjustments, tiny withdrawals, one thread at a time. I stopped doing his laundry first. Instead of washes and folds, I started placing his clothes in a basket. Untouched. He walked around for 3 days wearing the same sweatshirt until he finally said, "Did you forget my laundry?" "No," I answered without turning around. I prioritized myself. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Next came the finances. Every month, I handled our accounts. I paid the mortgage, the bills, the groceries. I also transferred money to Chloe's tuition. I stopped. Not dramatically, just quietly, calculatingly. Instead of paying everything automatically, I moved my salary into a new personal account, one that only had my name on it. Mark didn't notice. He never logged into the bank, never checked statements. He assumed I'd keep carrying him. Meanwhile, I paid only my half of the mortgage. Yes, my half. Because on paper, the house belonged to his mother. I was just the financial backbone, the sucker keeping them afloat. But now, I was stepping off the raft. Chloe came at me first, waving her tuition invoice like a surrender flag. "Emily, my classes, the payment bounced." I looked up from my book. "Oh, pay it from your savings." She scoffed. "I don't have savings." "That's not my fault." "But Mark said—" I closed the book carefully. "Mark says a lot of things." That's when she stormed off, slamming the door. 2 days later, his mother cornered me while I filled my water bottle. "We noticed the mortgage wasn't fully paid." "I paid my share," I said. "I assume the rest will be handled by the man of the house." Her lips trembled, speechless. Mark confronted me that night. "Why are you doing this?" he snapped. "Doing what?" "Acting. Distant." A laugh escaped me, quiet, humorless. "You're noticing my distance? Funny, you've ignored my exhaustion for years. You're being dramatic. And you're being irresponsible. If you want to be the man of the house, then be one." He hated hearing his own words thrown back at him. Slowly, he began unraveling. Next phase, I started staying late at work, by choice. Not because I needed to, but because freedom felt intoxicating. When colleagues asked if I wanted to join them for dinner, I said yes. I laughed. I took space. I breathed. Meanwhile, the household deteriorated without me. Dishes piled. Trash overflowed. Laundry crawled like vines across the floor. Mark texted me one evening. "Mark, when are you coming home?" Me. "Not sure." Mark. "Dinner?" Me. "There's takeout money on the table." Mark. "The envelope's empty." Me. "Oh, that must mean you spent it." The messages stopped. By week 3, Chloe had dropped out of her semester due to non-payment. She sulked around the house like a storm cloud, slamming cabinets whenever I passed by. His mother stopped speaking to me altogether, her glare a silent accusation. And Mark? Mark began scrambling. At first, he attempted to charm me back. He made toast one morning, burnt, and placed it in front of me. "Thought I'd make breakfast today." He smiled, trying to be cute. I looked at the charred bread. "I don't eat burnt mistakes." His smile collapsed. That's when his ego started cracking. He tried guilt. "I've been trying to brainstorm new businesses, Em. You think it's easy?" "I think it's easier to brainstorm than to work." He tried defensiveness. "You don't understand pressure. You don't understand responsibility." He tried desperation. "Just tell me what to do." The irony? For 4 years, I begged for partnership. Now, when he was forced to carry his own life, He collapsed. I watched him crumble, not with satisfaction at first, but with clarity. He wasn't helpless. He was comfortable. Comfortable letting me break my back. Comfortable letting me drown. Talia stopped showing up. Apparently, entrepreneurial dreams weren't as attractive when they came with dirty dishes and overdue bills. One night, as I walked in at 10:48 p.m., Mark was sitting in the dark, illuminated only by the glow of his phone. The house around him was chaos. "Emily," he said, voice ragged. "What's happening to us?" I closed the door gently. "What's happening," I said, "is that I stopped parenting a grown man." He swallowed, stunned. "You can't just walk away from responsibilities." I smiled. Slow, calm, deadly. "I'm not walking away from responsibilities. I'm walking away from being everyone else's." The look on his face told me he finally realized. He had lost control. But he hadn't realized the best part yet. Soon, he would lose everything else. Mark didn't truly panic until the letter arrived. A crisp, official envelope from the bank, stamped urgent. He tossed it on the table while I sipped my tea. Chloe hovered behind him like a nervous shadow. "Emily?" Mark said, voice tight. "Why did the bank send a default notice?" I stirred my tea slowly, savoring the moment like a movie scene. "Because," I said calmly, "they didn't receive the full mortgage payment, only mine." His face turned red, his mother gasped, and Chloe clutched her phone like it was her last oxygen tank. "You're punishing us," his mother spat. I set my cup down gently. "No, I just stopped financing grown adults." A beat of silence. Mark slapped the table. "You can't do this. This is our home." I walked toward him, looking him straight in the eyes. "No, it's your mother's home. All this time I paid the mortgage on property that isn't even mine. I carried this family, financially, emotionally, physically." I leaned closer, and nobody cared until I stopped. For the first time, Mark looked scared. "Emily, please," he whispered, voice cracking. "You can't leave. I need you." There it was. Not, "I love you." Not, "I'm sorry. I need you." I tilted my head. "Do you need me, or do you need what I do for you?" He had no answer. Only silence. The final move. 2 weeks later, with the bank's second notice looming, I took a personal day and followed through on the final stage of my revenge. I met with a realtor. We talked numbers, options, possibilities. She looked at me over her laptop. "You can afford your own place, easily." I felt a strange warmth in my chest. Freedom. After that meeting, I didn't go home. I went to the bank. I transferred the remaining mortgage payments into the family account, and then filed a document I had prepared months earlier, a legal withdrawal of financial responsibility. It stated that I would no longer contribute to any expenses of that household, mortgage, utilities, or tuition. They were officially on their own. That night, I returned with boxes. Mark stood in the living room, eyes swollen. "You're leaving." "Yes, but we can fix this," he begged. "We can start fresh. You just need to support me a little longer." Support. The word felt poisonous now. "I spent 4 years supporting you," I said softly. "You spent 4 years resting." Chloe stood behind him, arms crossed. "You can't start over. You're nothing without us." I smiled, the kind of smile that comes from knowing the truth. "You're confusing me with Mark." His mother slammed a drawer. "Fine, go. You'll come crawling back." I took one last look at that house, the prison I once called home. "No," I said. "I won't." Mark followed me out to the driveway, barefoot, desperate. The night wind blew against his face. Streetlights cast long shadows across his defeated figure. "Emily," he whispered, voice breaking, "I thought you'd always be here." I placed the keys in his palm. I was, until I realized I was the only one trying. He looked at me like a man watching his lifeline slip away. "Please don't go." I stepped back. "You didn't lose me today, Mark. You lost me the day you watched me drown and called it comfort." His knees weakened. I walked away. The air felt lighter than it had in years. A new start. My new apartment was small, brighter, quiet. The kind of quiet that feels like peace, not loneliness. I bought new furniture, one paycheck at a time. I hung plants in the windows, cooked for myself, slept without tension curling in my spine. One evening, after a long day of work, I made myself tea and sat near the window, watching the city lights flicker like tiny warm promises. My phone buzzed, a text from Mark. "I can't pay the mortgage. We might lose the house." I typed back, "That's not my responsibility anymore." 5 seconds later, "I miss you." I stared at the message, then deleted it. I owe myself peace. I owe myself rest. I owe myself me. I blocked his number, leaned back into my soft chair, and let the silence wrap around me like a fresh start. For the first time in 4 years, I wasn't exhausted. I was free, and the freedom tasted better than revenge, because it was the revenge. Life doesn't punish people. Their own comfort does.